there. Um, you will notice that we are again not in the kitchen. We're just hanging out in my living room today. I wanted to start kind of a new series in addition to the yoga and the recipes, just because I wanted to talk about some things that might not necessarily be tied into a recipe but still relate to nutrition and health. So we're just going to do like these little informal nutritional chats. You can see my cat back there being her little fluffy self. Sometimes she'll come over and say hi. So just a little informal chat about nutrition and health and diets and diet culture and all of the stuff that gets tossed around all the time, just to kind of like parse through it and make sense of it all. And so I just wanted to kind of start that series now, and these will just be little nutritional one-on-one chats. And so I guess first of all, I should talk a little bit more about my background. I've had times in my life where I've been, somewhat overweight and really did not feel good about myself. And I've had other times where I've been overly restrictive with my eating. And so I've kind of gone all around the spectrum. I've tried a ton of different diets. I've tried vegetarian, I've tried keto, I've tried paleo, I've tried low carb, I've tried slow carb. I've tried a whole bunch of things. And most of that was for self-experimentation so that I knew what worked best with my body. And that was something that I was reading and educating myself on constantly. And then I got my master's degree in nutrition from a naturopathic college. So the focus was really on whole food nutrition and taking care of the body as a whole, engaging the mind, engaging the eyes, engaging the taste, engaging all of the senses when it comes to food, when it comes to nutrition, and being really engaged with that process the whole way through. And so all of that has really shaped how I approach my own personal nutrition and how I feel about nutrition. But one thing that really has stood out to me is that with nutrition, it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. And that's something that I kind of wanted to address right off the bat, is that, nutrition is variable. What works for me may not work for you. What works for the Instagram influencer that's super fit and super tiny and, just has what we in our society has determined is the quote unquote perfect body, that may not work for you. They have a completely different set of genetics, and that's going to influence how their body processes food, handles stress, deals with all kinds of things. And I do feel like particularly in Western diet culture, we get really caught up in, finding that silver bullet, that one thing that's going to fix all of our problems, that's going to turn us into this ideal that we've been sold. And this is something particularly for women, but also for men, because men are marketed, a particular diet and a particular body style as well. But part of my approach with nutrition is not necessarily looking at, okay, how do I look like the social media ideal? That can be really damaging emotionally, psychologically. It can be frustrating, it can be disappointing, it can be triggering for some people. And as hard as it is to let go of all of that cultural pressure to eat a certain way, to look a certain way, to be a certain level of fitness, we really need to let all of that go. Because that's not nourishing our bodies, that's not nourishing our hearts, our minds, our souls. That is trying to confine ourselves into what other people think we should be. And I don't know that that's worked well for anyone. So I don't like to approach nutrition focusing on weight loss. I don't like to approach nutrition focusing on, okay, if I lose 50 pounds, then, finally I'll be pretty or accepted. Or if I gain 10 pounds of muscle, then, my life will be fine and I'll be the ideal. I really think that nutrition should be viewed in light of health, in light of feeling good about ourselves, feeling energized to do what we love. So really reframing how we look at food and reframing our relationship with food, not to this thing that's good or bad, that, oh, we cheated on our diet. No, we enjoyed a food that may not be good for us all the time, but it's okay to have some of the time. Sorry, this is getting kind of rambly. You'll notice I tend to do that because I have so many thoughts that I want to share and that I want to help start a discussion around. So I'm going to try to keep this somewhat brief and a little bit more focused. And so I guess basically just to say that my main focus with my personal approach to nutrition is that it should make you feel good on the inside. It should support and nourish your body. And it shouldn't feel like a punishment. Eating healthy is not something that should feel like we're forcing ourselves to do, or that there are days that it's harder than others. Don't get me wrong. There are days where you just don't want to eat anything healthy because that's just not where you're at with life. But we shouldn't be treating health and nutrition as a punishment for where we are in life, or as a chore or as a hassle. It should be something that we can creatively engage in, and something that, maybe it's not like that every day, but we can make this into a really, an aspect of joy, an aspect of connecting with our local community, connecting with ourselves, connecting with our bodies, both, internal, with everything that's going on with digestion, and then also with the senses, with what we see, what we touch, what we taste, what we smell, all of that kind of stuff. And in terms of different eating patterns, whether it's vegetarian, vegan, keto, paleo, slow carb, low carb, Atkins, Weight Watchers, whatever it is, the one thing that the research really shows in terms of all of these diets is that it's really having a structure that helps people if they are looking to lose weight, lower their cholesterol, whatever they're working on doing with food, is when you switch from just eating whatever you want to eating a more structured plan. It's more about the plan and the structure that helps people, because then what happens, and I'm sure if you've ever been on a diet or if you've ever tried to lose weight, you're like, all right, I'm gonna lose 10 pounds. You lose 10 pounds, great, you're feeling amazing, and then you just stop paying attention to food altogether. And the next thing you know, you've got those 10 pounds back. And so a lot of us have been in that yo-yo diet culture, and it's not helpful. It doesn't make us feel good, it doesn't make us feel healthy, it doesn't make us feel strong, it doesn't help us connect with what is really going on in our bodies and with what we really want. And so my focus with food is health. And that can be healthy losing weight, that can be healthy maintaining weight, that can be healthy gaining weight, that can just be healthy and throw the scale out the window because who cares? But food should make you feel good on the inside. It should make you feel energized, it should make you feel nourished, it should make you feel like your digestion is working, not bloated or crampy or gassy or feeling like you have heartburn or indigestion. All those kinds of things are our body's signals for, this doesn't really work for your body. So my approach to nutrition is about health and about figuring out what works for your unique body, for your unique situation. We all have different genetics. We were all raised in similar or different environments, and that all has an impact on how we process food, and that has an impact on what food works for our bodies and what food doesn't. And so nutrition is a really personal thing. We all have different connections with food, through our history, through the foods that we grew up with in childhood, through the foods that we fell in love with in, college or wherever we, started to really explore food and get into all of that. So it really should be about health and about getting back to eating whole foods. Foods that are not in a package, foods that have not been processed within an inch of their life, because that's another thing that the research supports. The research supports making a plan with your food and eating whole foods. That's pretty much, I think those are pretty much the only two things that any diet study will agree on. Because you can find studies supporting paleo, you can find them supporting keto, you can find them supporting vegetarian, you can find them supporting vegan, you can find them supporting pretty much any diet that there is out there. There are some exceptions, but many diets, you can find research that supports it. And the one thing, the two things that they all have in common is that there's a plan for what's being eaten, and it's whole food. It's not, eating foods that come out of a drive-through window or from a box from the time you get up until the time you go to bed. It's really about adding in more fresh foods, more whole foods that look like they did when they came out of the ground, off the vine, off the tree, off the bush, what have you. So that's really my focus with food, and that is what I want to help educate you about, and hopefully help open up that personal exploration for yourself to really discover what works for you and what works for your body. And I think that's another reason that I don't really like recipes, is that I feel like they kind of confine you to these specific flavors or these specific ingredients, and I like to play with it. I like to experiment. I like to swap in things that I don't like and things that I do like, and just make sure that the finished product is something that I know works for me. And so I hope that you will feel encouraged to do the same. I hope that if you have any questions, you will let me know, or if you have any ideas for something that you want more information about, we can let me know, and we can do another little nutritional chat about that. They may take some time, because if it's an area that I'm not super familiar with off the top of my head, then I may need to do a little bit of research on it, but I love doing research. So if you have a question that you've wanted to ask about nutrition, or if you want me to clarify anything that I've already rambled on and on about today, I would absolutely love to know. You can drop it down in the comments, and I will hopefully read them and get to them, and we can start working on this little nutritional chats, little nutrition 101 conversations together, so that we can get your questions answered, and we can just really explore this whole journey as a community and as a group. So I really appreciate you guys listening to my ramble. Eat more fruits and veggies. Plan your meals. If you don't, there's a phrase. Something about if you fail to plan, then you can plan to fail, or something like that. I don't like it because it has the word failure in it, and those failures are learning experiences. So try making a plan just for one meal, just for breakfast. Just plan out your breakfasts this next week, and see how that goes. See how you feel with having that structure in place. See if it helps your life. Maybe lunches or dinners are better for you, but just pick one thing. Plan it, add a few whole fruits and veggies, and see how that makes you feel. Thank you again for listening to my little ramble. These are definitely going to be ramble style, so we'll just have fun little chats. Have a great evening, and I will see you all later this week with more recipes, more yoga, more nutritional information. We are just going to have a ton of fun on this wellness journey together. Like and subscribe the video if you would like to keep up with all of these and get notifications whenever I've got something new for you. Have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. We can wave bye-bye to the kitty in the background, and I will see you all soon.